Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Wednesday afternoon, May 4th. We are looking at Window Traders Market Profile of SPY IWMN Triple Qs. And what an awesome day to watch, trade somewhat. We nailed it. We nailed this day, again, as far as calling it. Again, didn't do anything in the afternoon, and I have no problem with that. I don't mind that I said I rarely trade after he speaks. I had a good morning and early afternoon, but the market did exactly what we thought it had the capability of doing. It did two things today that I actually didn't expect early. And the first one, now again, I'm in 10-tick increments. Did not expect B to rip as low as it did against A's low and almost attempt to start getting to yesterday's low. I did not expect that. Then it got too short, so I'm not surprised that they alleviated those shorts. The other thing that surprised me is how much they pushed up prior to the Fed announcement. And I got into a huge trade, which I was in trouble in, but worked out very nicely for me. We'll go over that in a minute. Did this surprise me? No. Why? Just look at a weekly chart. Look at a daily chart. The market was so ridiculously short, it wasn't funny. So once the market got to 50 basis point, and more importantly, in his press conference, he made the announcement that 75 point hike is basically off the table, the market ripped. Now, if anything, the market should be going down on that because, again, I think the Fed is really behind on this inflation thing. But the market doesn't care about that. Market only cares about the market. And they heard 50, they expected it, and they expect 50 going forward. And they just ripped, and I mean ripped apart, the shorts. Two of the largest set of single prints that we've had on the same day in a long time that we have. That goes for all of us. We have a possibility now of an outside week up or down. So the daily is now up, the weekly is now balanced. I'm still calling the monthly down. But that's a huge change from where we were just the other day on Monday when we were down in all three of our indices. We all go out with price probes. We all go out with two large sets of single prints. As far as my trading, so in B period, I did take a short. I did the 417 puts. I didn't do anything in A, but I shorted B as it was coming in. Did well on that. And then as it got stretched out, I actually reversed and took a long in B period on the 413 calls. Then in C period, since we had single prints at the time, I was shorting any push up, the 417 puts. Now, even though we held single prints in B, when D came down, I'm like, there's no tempo here. And I didn't think, I was like, I was really going to be surprised if those B single prints held. And actually, B's high, I was calling the highest accepted price at the time. And I told the room, I said, I know all the MGI is in favor of the sellers right now. I said, I really don't believe that's going to hold on a Fed day at all. So I actually took a long in D period. Worked out, 413 calls. Actually took a long in E period. Before we took out D's high, worked out again. But the one thing I'm upset about is I was ready to take a bigger play before we took out D's high. The 144 was right around that level. I didn't like the way it was coinciding. I wanted it a little lower to leapfrog it, fill the single prints, so I never took it. So I missed that opportunity. Then my last trade of the day turned out to be a huge one. I expected the single prints to fill. But to be quite honest with you, I expected F period to trade between B's high and basically the opening and come back to where we were 4 wide at the time now, or 5 wide at the time prior to the Fed. I thought now that the sellers had their chance, they got ripped apart, we would basically trade between the opening and B's high. So I started a short play there. And boy, oh boy, it kept going up. Started getting hurt, started getting size. And then basically it was around, I'm trying to think, I think it was H period I ended up taking off. Not 100% sure, but I got really big again. Got about 300 on the put side of the 418 puts. But the size play, I mean, I bought 100 of them at $2.55, and they rolled over. They went back to 320. Again, it wasn't a great risk-reward trade like yesterday. I was down a little over $4,000, made a little over $2,000. So, again, I'd rather be down $2,000 and make $4,000. But again, I made good money on it. And that was it. I was not going to do anything. I said when with the announcement in J, K period is one of the most incredible periods I've ever seen as far as range. For a middle time frame, that range and volume was just spectacular. Okay, it was a $10 range on volume of over 20 million in K period. So that was spectacular. Now we did get directional, obviously, with the huge set of single prints, but he was still doing the press conference. And I told you I don't really like doing it. And by the time he was over, we were trading up to here. Actually, the only other trade I might have thought of is against the weekly high, which we took out by literally 2 cents to maybe take a short against that the first time, but I didn't do it. Had a good day, and I don't mind missing the last 2 hours of trading. As far as destinations, upside is now today's high of 429.66. Then we don't have anything until April 22nd. We had 3 cents of single prints, 431.90 to 93. On the other hand, ES did not have single prints. They have an afternoon rally high in G that day. And then after that, incredibly, there's nothing until 437.23 daily high, and then 437.87 price probe from April 21st. Now, in there, you'll see is the 20 and 50-day moving average. We'll look at that on the chart. For the downside, price probe, L's high, 427.09. First set of single prints, they start at 426.95 and get filled at 424.25. $2.70, M low to K high. Then the next one, they start at L's low, 423.07 to J's high, 420.15. Again, just under $3. Then there's nothing until the day's low of 413.71, which is amazing. We did have 7 wide, but I won't count that. So absolutely spectacular range again with volume. Our volume right now is, hold on, let's go to the charts now. Our volume right now, as we're speaking, is 141 million. Remember, we did 158 million the other day. It was the third highest of the year. We might end up doing that in after hours, which means our third or fourth highest volume of the year would be short covering, because that's all this was. Now, here's the monthly. Some people will call it balance, and I have no problem with that. But we took out that 3-month balance low by $5. Now, I know it's the monthly. Maybe I should give it a little leeway. But for now, I'm calling it down. We'll see how the month transpires. Because, again, it's only 3 days into the trading month. If we have an outside month up, obviously I'd go to balance. Because look at a weekly. Weekly took out last week's low. We just took out last week's high. Weekly is firmly in balance. It will now be a 2-week balance. And this week will be the entire range of it. But we're back in balance on the weekly. And then on the daily, up. We came into a 3-day balance yesterday, but we blew through Friday's high, and we even took out Thursday's high. So the daily to me is now up. The 20-day moving average, 432.78. The 50, 436.37. Remember, I told you, there's a price vacuum up to 437.23. So the odds, I think, of testing both the 20 and the 50 are a lot better than filling both sets of single prints that we had today. That's how I'm seeing it. Great education day today. I'm telling you, for $30 a month, really, you can't beat it. Come check us out at camelbacktrading.org. Thanks for the likes and subscribing to this video channel. Rest up, enjoy your evening, and we'll speak prior to the opening tomorrow.